I want to welcome you all to join at the Online Innovation Cafe. Um, we're here today with Svetlana Mironcika and Mayra Artega Aldonado from Art and Tech Society. And we hope everyone saw the presentation. And we hope that you want to share your questions with us as well. So this edition is also made possible by Foundation Art and Tech Society. And Mayra, I would like to ask you to tell us a little bit about it.
Yes. Yeah, well, first, I really want to thank Svetlana for this presentation. It was very, very inspiring. And I would like to say that this is the last presentation about wearable technologies that we have. We ran 3 presentations, so this is the last one. And our next presentations will be on July 2nd with Arvid and Mary. And they will be talking about their project Confined Work, which is a virtual exhibitions and explain how artists and designers express themselves in this lockdown period. So it's going to be also very interesting. So, and when a little bit about Art and Tech Society, we are a new foundation in Eindhoven that uses art and technology for social innovation. So yes, very short, but okay, this is who we are. Thank you, Margot. Coming back to you.
Yeah, thanks. I know Mayra has a couple of questions. Just as a quick introduction, Svetlana, could you tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into this specific field?
Yeah, so about the background, I'm actually from Latvia. I got business education over there. Then when I moved to the Netherlands, I found that design industry is very strong in the Netherlands. I got interested. I went to study to industrial design in Eindhoven University. And there I found my interest of designing for human bodies and bodily skills. And this includes smart garment design, design for motoric skills. And then I landed in this interesting PhD project.
Perfect. Mayra, would you like to kick off with your questions, please?
Yes. I'm very interested in your presentation that you mentioned some companies. You mentioned Albert Heijn and one very specific case. But I wonder if other multinational companies like Nike and Adidas, which are very advanced on this personalization, ultra-personalizations of products, how they are dealing with these ethical aspects like privacy and not trusting the system. What is your opinion about it?
It is a very good question. To be honest, I didn't look exactly how these companies deal with the privacy questions, because I'm not really aware of the products that Nike and Adidas are making based on the private data. Because it's not that I'm aware of. I know that they offer you to customize your own shoes, and it's mostly by assembling the product. So you can select materials, colors, but from pre-selected choice. And my guess would be that when you are on a website, the personal data might be collected, like how long time you are on a website, what kind of designs you try to make, what are you looking at. So I guess I would imagine that they collect this kind of data, private data. Maybe also what kind of size of the shoe you actually ordered, they might capture that, but I'm not really aware of that. So I guess to find out more, we need to look at the cookie policy, because today I checked some websites, and the first thing what popped up was the cookie notification. Immediately you have to consent before you proceed to the website. So I can imagine they capture our behavior data on the website.
Yeah. Okay, and also related with that, with this cookie aspect of the website. During your presentations, you were talking about that people will be able to scan in their own bodies. So it's a sort of do-it-yourself scanning of your body, and they can, in a way, control the own data of share the information only that is specific for one product or for one item. But how in the future I will be controlling our own data? This is a huge problem now. How do you see that? How is your project and envision this aspect?
Yes, so I believe that this responsibility of data control should be in hands of course, designer who design a system, but also users who will use system. So like I have a vision that information have to be transparent so users know how the data is being used. In a way, I also don't feel comfortable, let's say, to donate my data without knowing how it's being used and to who it's being sold. So I think this has to be more transparent. Like, for example, does my personal data goes to the insurance companies or somewhere else, or how would my how would me sharing my personal data affect myself without me knowing that? So I think it's a lot of ethical responsibilities that we as a designer should take when we design the systems. So now I really hope that in apps we will look into that critically, and how to say, reflection on that will be part of the overall methodology that we design. I admit that we have to design very responsibly about it.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. No, I don't say goodbye, but I will switch my video off so that the conversation can continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Mara. So, yeah, what you were saying, like, you think it's very important that you should be able to control your data yourself, right? Especially because the ultra personalization that you're talking about is mainly about products right now, right? How do you see that developing, for example, in other fields, like, for example, the medical field?
This is a really good question. I must say that I'm not expert in that field. What I'm hearing is that there are more and more talks about personalization of the medical treatment, and well, treatment will be more tailored to the patients. I must say I'm not really aware of what's happening. I believe there is a lot of happening in the medical field, and I would hope for that, because we're all different, and the way our endocrine system and work is pretty much different, so there would be some personalization there. Yeah, so
could you explain a little bit, because I think you, for example, talk about that people seem to prefer the approach of the tailor, so basically no technology involved. And could you explain why it's important to develop these technologies anyway, and what benefits there are over doing it the old-fashioned way, as we say?
Yes. Basically, we looked at the existing measurement technique to find out the qualities which actually work pretty well, right? I mean, for centuries, and in a way, if you don't like really tailor, you would switch them. So the tailors mastered the way how to measure a body in a respectful way. And we try to actually find those qualities and translate them also in the technology. Because of course, scanners allow collecting data fast. If you have, let's say, you can measure your body at the comfort of your own home. And this also allows you to capture the data that like volumetric data, for example, volumes of your hands and shapes that with just a simple measure tape you cannot really measure, or you would have a difficulty in that. And with this, like 3D body data, we can immediately 3D model objects based on your body geometry. So obviously there are advantages. So we try to get the best out of the existing measurement techniques and introduce them to the emerging technologies.
And try to avoid like all of the tendencies that, so you were saying, like you were saying, people don't really trust it. Like also trying to improve the technology so that people are actually going to trust it. Like you said, we had the 3 tendencies that you were mentioning in your presentation. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Besides improving these technologies, do you think that it could also be helpful to provide proper education for people so that these technologies also become more accepted? It's not necessarily just evolving the technology, right?
Yes, exactly.
Do you know if there's anything going on where people are being made more aware of the possibilities with these techniques?
Yes, exactly. Well, basically, informing aware, it could be one approach, but we also see an opportunity of inviting the user to be a part of the process of technology creation. So we call it a more participatory design, or like a co-creation design. So they are in a loop. So we can early identify those tensions in a design process, and we can actually realize it together, find them out together with the users, with the prospective users, and see their perspective, because maybe we as engineers might miss something, or what is actually interesting for us might be not interesting, might be interesting for the users. So we want to get these different perspectives in the design of the technologies. Yes, and it's interesting that in this product personalization, the power and control kind of shifts a little bit. So the producers need to share the control together with the users, because at the end, if the system is perceived as untrustable, users will not, well, they will just not trust it, not use it. So it's also in interest of the producer to take them in the loop and design together and to find out how it can be a more comfortable process, respectful. Yeah.
Thank you. I get a question from Prem. He's asking, is there any innovation on the user interface front? Today we have screen, and are there any tools without using screens?
Do you mean related to body scanning?
I think so, yes.
Well, to be honest, I anticipate, well, what I see, I didn't study like all possible, there are a lot of technologies, body scanning technologies, right? But what interesting that most of them are focused on like a body data extraction, and you are a part of the process, but you're not really controlling it as much. I mean, especially technologies that I tried out is mostly, well, for scanning an object, and we tried technology off the shelf from university. So it's not really designed to be collected user data on this, for personalization of the clothes. So I think the more we explore this product personalization opportunities, the more technology will develop alongside with us. So, but innovation are happening, I'm sure, every year, yeah, quite rapidly, and there are a lot of conferences on that. Yeah.
You mentioned in your presentation, you mentioned the 3 tendencies. I was wondering if you perhaps already have some examples of where people are already working on that, or where there's projects where they integrated these types of solutions.
To be honest, not that I am aware of. I mean, especially solution that would take into account as a user experience. So to be honest, it's not that I'm aware of, and especially in science, because I looked in the scientific field. Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot to gain there. And of course, like, it's very hard to keep up with the development in an industry, because like every year, there are new solutions. And to be honest, for me, that was not really, my PhD is not really about 3D body scanning, but it's more about the product side. It was just interesting observation that we found out, and we just wondered why it happened this way. Shouldn't we maybe a little bit otherwise, focus mostly not on a data extraction, but on a user experience. So I will, I hope there more innovation will come. Yeah.
We get another question from Mayra. Besides the body shape, would the color of or the type of skin be also part of the scanning data as a step before designing fashion garments or cosmetics, for example?
Yes, so there are different technologies, and one of the approach to reconstruct your 3D body model is to take many pictures from different sides of your body, and then in those pictures they also capture the skin color. And for example, you can make a full color miniature of your body, and you can print it in a media market. So in this case, the technology allows you to capture that. Then another question is how good, how precise the printer can print represents your color of the skin, but technology can capture that.
Okay, great.
And of course, I would be interested about this follow-up questions, designing fashion garments and cosmetics. What does Myra exactly means? Because it would be interesting to explore how the color of your skin can influence maybe personalization of the color of a textile, like what actually color palette would suit your skin. That would be interesting.
You were mentioning a little bit about these products that have already been ultra personalized. Could you maybe go a little bit into detail about like how they use that exactly to evolve these products? Just as an example of one of the ones you mentioned.
One of them. What I can say. For example, there's casts that were showed, right?
Yep.
They were actually, I might, I have to check again the paper, but I think they were trying to personalize the opening of the cast depending on the maybe perspiration level of your arm. So say if you tend to have a warmer hand, maybe the cast will have more openings. So. In other, for example, personalized lingerie is like they 3D body scan you, and then there's one particular part of the lingerie. I think they're supporting frame.
The wire.
The wire, exactly. Apparently, it gives you much more comfort with a bigger when you go in a bigger shapes of the bra. This wire gives a comfort if it's personalized for you, specially shaped. The ankle support, it's also it's specially designed for foot to offer you perfect support. This ankle supports.
There's lots of different ways of implementing it, I guess. And I guess it also really depends on the product, like how sensitive the information actually is. I can imagine there's lots of products where it might not even be an issue to have a body scan done, especially, for example, a cast. I think people are very happy to do that, right? But then for the bra wire, I can imagine it's a lot more sensitive.
But it's also interesting because just imagine, but what if you have, let's say, a scar, or if you have some deformity on your arm, would you be willing to share it, the data set, to the medical employees or to the companies? I mean, it could be per case, there are a lot of sensitivities, personal sensitivity there. But indeed, I mean, the bra is much more personal.
And then I think there's also a little bit of a nuance there between, because I mean, you're mentioned making the difference between a medical or a medical device or something, or a product. But for example, for a commercial product, I can imagine people are much less interested in sharing their data because it's a commercial company and they're not bound by the rules of privacy, as in their data can't be shared or collected.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
If there's no more questions from the audience, then we're gonna close off. I want to thank you, Svetlana, for joining us and answering our questions. And I want to thank the audience as well for watching. We hope to see you next week. We have Robert Guillaume from NSW Matrix, and he is going to talk a little bit about a solution for back pains. And if you want to know more about Svetlana's talk, if you want to rewatch them, or if you want to have more information and inspiration, please go to our website, ehvinnovationcafe.org. And we hope to see you next week. Also, on Tuesday, there is the possibility to join the meetup table.